It is conservative media that has gone from support to incitement. These people are violating the rights of others in Canada.
Are you saying we're inciting it?
There's Geraldo Rivera telling a little bit more truth on the Fox News channel every once in a while. And of course, once Geraldo Rivera tells a little bit of truth, a catfight ensues. So this catfight is coming from after some right-wing media outlets did point this out. Let's see this from Newsweek. Right-wing media outlets, including Fox News talk radio podcasters and websites like Breitbart, they praised the truckers as heroic patriots. So by February 9th, Fox News hosts like Hannity, Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingraham devoted nearly 8 hours covering the protest up there in Canada, while watchdog group Media Matters reported it. So the Department of Homeland Security has since warned that similar protests could begin in the US, according to a DHS warning circulated to law enforcement nationwide. Now, during that segment, as Geraldo decided to point out of what many of these right-wing outlets are doing and inciting and pursuing this story on and on for their own benefit, let's watch the rest of this exchange that he had with the rest of those members of the Five.
What is not that popular in Canada, Judge, is this trucker, this freedom convoy. What about the freedom of the homeowners to live in peace? What about the freedom of the shopkeepers to do business? What about the freedom of the auto workers to get parts so they can put their cars together?
Did you say this when they were burning down the federal courturhouse in Seattle for 2 months?
I did more than that. I condemned it. I condemn anybody who feels so
but what violence are they creating?
So empowered that they can take away your rights to establish their rights.
What rights are they taking away?
They're taking away the right of the homeowner to sleep in peace, the right of the shopkeeper to do business,
Where are you
the right
seeing
of the
this?
auto workers to get parts.
Where are you seeing these rights being taken away? They're not parked in front of people's houses.
They are
They're not parked in front of people's houses, honking in the middle of the night. They're actually being welcomed.
You are. It is conservative media.
You have one person you're talking to in Canada.
It is conservative media that has gone from support to incitement. These people are violating the rights of others in Canada.
Are you saying we're inciting it?
The polls that I see, the Hub, Ledger, Ipsos, these polls all show between 65 and 69% of Canadians oppose these truckers because this has gone on long enough.
Oh, that's amazing.
Just show the evidence. That's what we ask.
Yeah, they have a very short.
Open your eyes and look.
No, I actually read and do research. I don't just come here and yell. Although sometimes I do.
You yell all day, every day.
Okay.
So there's that conversation went from normal to ridiculous because once Gutfeld wants to talk about, give us some proof. How about some evidence? Right after Geraldo gave them multiple pieces of evidence, including this is maybe some more evidence for them. 2/3 of Canadians support the use of Emergencies Act and want Freedom Convoy cleared out. Weird how that works. Also, police have started taking action against some of these folks as well. I think we've heard a little bit of, because on Thursday evening, police arrested 2 key organizers of the self-stylized Freedom Convoy, and they've since ramped up efforts to dispense the illegal demonstrations and arrest the holdouts. Police said some protesters were surrendering and being arrested during an operation Friday morning as authorities began enforcing bans on demonstrating in the downtown core. And also at noon, Ottawa police said that in a tweet that there had been 15 arrests and 4 vehicles towed. And lastly, police on Thursday evening also cordoned off large swaths of downtown Ottawa and set up checkpoints around illegal encampments. Inside the area where the core of the remaining truckers and demonstrators are holed up, the mood was somber but defiant. Protesters shoveled snow to create barricades in the street and block their vehicles.
Okay, so Geraldo Rivera, of all people, a rare voice of reason on Fox News. And it's really interesting what happens when you break their monopoly of lies. So that was such a fun segment because of the alternate reality that Greg Gutfeld lives in. And honestly, almost all the entire Fox audience does because all the Fox hosts do except Geraldo. So Gutfeld says they're welcomed by Canadians. And then Geraldo says that's not true. 2/3 of Canadians say that they are against them. And Gutfeld says, well, that's not true because I do research. No, but wait, you didn't cite any research, you didn't cite any polls. Geraldo cited 3 polls. We just cited a 4th. They all have the same number. And the one that JR just gave you is 2/3 are not just against the truckers, they think a national emergency should be declared to get rid of the truckers. So that's the actual opinion of the Canadians. But if you watch Fox News, other than that segment, and I know it seems hard to believe if you live in the outside world, but in the conservative media bubble, they all think the Canadians love this protest. And that they love hearing the honking horns right underneath their house 24/7, and they love not being able to sleep. They don't want any mask mandates. They don't want any vaccine mandates. You know, the original protest about the mandate to have vaccines to go back and forth between the American and US border. You wanna know what percentage of truckers are already vaccinated in Canada? 90%. This is a minuscule minority. They happen to have very large trucks, but they're a tiny, tiny minority. But if you watch Fox News, other than that 5-minute episode, you would think that they were the most popular thing on earth, and that Canadians think that Justin Trudeau is Stalin himself for having taken action against the truckers. That's the alternate reality of Fox News. Helen.
I'm starting to think that Geraldo takes like the Kool-Aid that they give him and secretly dumps it out like once a week. Because he
weird,
right? Like it's like mostly he's on board with Fox, but then every like one thing out of every 10 things he says actually makes sense. So I can't believe he's still working there, to be honest. And like you said, Cenk, at the beginning, like when Geraldo Rivera is the voice of reason on your network.
Well, that's what's happening then. On the 5, he's become the Juan Williams, which I'm not sure where he went. So he's the now lib on the 5 panel that gets to fight back against 4 of the people who are yelling and shouting at him. And it's one of the things I'm glad you pointed out, because it's every once in a while. Because as what Janine Pirro said to Geraldo was, well, did you say the same thing about the summer of 2020? As soon as she was saying, I was like, hell yes, he did. In fact, he was saying it loudly. We were talking about that was the other 9 out of 10 times when he agrees with everything that they're saying on the network.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, my last thing on this is the line about incitement, and there I agree and disagree. So, is Fox News inciting the trucker convoy along with every other conservative cause? Of course, come on. And Greg Gutfeld seemed like genuinely outraged. Are you saying people watch us and are affected? Right-wingers affected by Fox News, an outrage. Come, are you, Greg? I know you're supposed to be like the comedian on Fox News. Hilarious. That's already the funniest thing I've ever heard. Okay. But is that a joke that the Fox News might influence right-wingers in America and Canada? Of course you guys influence them. But the part that I disagree with Geraldo is, so what? So yeah, you guys are representing the right-wing position. If you weren't pathological liars, I actually wouldn't have any problem with it. Battlefield of ideas, you say that, I say this, let's see who wins, right? But all you do is lie 24/7. That's my real issue. But do we incite progressives to fight back against the right wing and to fight back against corporate Democrats? Goddamn right we do. So what? Okay, and you're supposed to care about the news and you're supposed to tell people how you feel about it. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as you're not lying.
My favorite part about that entire clip was when Greg Gutfeld was like, I don't just come on here and scream. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. All right, yeah, sometimes I do. That's all you do.
Yeah, and by the way, again, nothing wrong with screaming. I do it all the time. But it's supposed to be backed up by research. And Gutfeld said, I sometimes yell, but I always do the research. I've never seen you quote anything. I've never seen you cite a statistic, a poll. You're the least research man in America. And he said, all I do is research. Oh, you did research? I dismiss it. Based on what? Nothing. Absolutely. I will yell over you. Again, I gotta confess, Greg Gutfeld is a joke.
He's a comedian.
Yeah, that I guess makes him the funniest man on Fox News. Am I not merciful? Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.